Bridge Board meeting for Wednesday, January the 22nd, 2025. We're going to go ahead and start with a roll call. Here. 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 Here.
Present.
Now please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation by Luis.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Lord, we come to you today in prayer asking for you to bless this meeting. Allow us to have meaningful discussions, to set expectations, and to reach our goals. Take our unified voice and grant us the gift of right thought as we make our decisions to align our work with our community. For this we pray, amen.
Amen. We'll continue with the Director's Administrative Report, and I guess Luis will take it from here.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Luis Bazan, Bridge Director, for the record. For the Director's Administrative Report, our first report that we have is our Crossings and Revenues Report for December 2024. Slide number 2, bridge total crossings. This is all for all vehicles. Totaled 113,440 in December. So that's an increase of 8,479 vehicles, or 8.08% increase during the same time period. Slide number 3, southbound car crossings. This totaled 60,477 in December. So that's an increase of 7,224 cars, or a 13.75% increase during the same time period last fiscal year. Now we're going to look at the southbound car crossing comparisons to other bridges. Again, as we've been doing, concentrating on the percentage and the daily average. So the Gateway Bridge under minus 10%, with a daily average of 3,197. Veterans Los Tomates minus 6%, for a daily average of 4,888. Free Trade Los Indios minus 2%, daily average of 1,342. That's the total for Brownsville is minus 7%, with a daily average of 9,427 combined. Del Rio, they have a 16% increase and a daily average of 5,033. Donna has a 5.51% increase with a daily average of 2,428. Eagle Pass has a 41% increase with a daily average of 8,745. Isleta Zaragoza in El Paso has an increase of 17% with a 9,636 daily average. And Stanton Lerdo has a decrease of 4% with a daily average of 4,802. So total for El Paso, they're up by 9%, a daily average of 14,438 combined. Laredo, no increase, 0%, with daily average of 15,680. McAllen Hidalgo, decrease of 1% with a daily average of 8,710. Anzalduas has a 4% increase with a daily average of 5,153. So total for McAllen and Anzalduas, it's 1% increase, daily average combined of 13,862. Pharr has an increase of 13.57% with a daily average of 2,016. Progreso has a decrease of 7.40% with a daily average of 1,487, and Roma has an increase of 1.45%, with a daily average of 2,158. So now one of the things that we are doing is collecting northbound car crossings as well from CBP, and we were able to go back about a year or so to collect that data. So starting this year, starting this month, we're going to be presenting those numbers as well. So on slide number 5, you're going to see the northbound car crossings. These totaled 50,228 cars for the month of December. It's showing an increase of 5,195 cars, or 11.54% over the same month last fiscal year. Working? Here we go. So now we go to the southbound truck crossings. Okay, there he goes. I didn't want to go through it. So southbound truck crossings, a total of 52,963 in December, so that's an increase of 1,255 trucks, or 2.43% increase during the same time period last fiscal year. Now we do the comparisons for southbound truck crossings with other bridges. On Salduas, empties only still, up 27%, with a daily average of 111 trucks. Veterans Los Tomates is a decrease of 25%, daily average of 571. Free Trade Los Indios is up by 75%, daily average of 145. So total for Brownsville, they're down by 15%, with a daily average of 706. Del Rio is down by 5%, with a daily average of 161. Eagle Pass is seeing an increase of 106%, with a daily average of 831. Isleta Zaragoza and El Paso is up by 12%, with a daily average of 1,747. Laredo is down by 2%, daily average of 7,500. Pharr is up by 2%, with a daily average of 1,765. Progreso is down by 20%, daily average of 145. And Roma is up by 29%, with a daily average of 26. So again, those are just southbound truck comparisons. Now we go to the northbound truck crossings. These totaled 56,425 in December, so that's an increase of 2,988 trucks, or 5.59% increase during the same time period last fiscal year. If you break it down further, that's 38,124 full trucks and 18,301 empty trucks. And a further breakdown shows that 19,275 of the full trucks were ag trucks, which represents 34% of all produce imports through Pharr. Northbound and southbound truck crossings on slide number 9 combined totaled 109,388 for December. So that's an increase of 4,243 combined, or 4.04% increase over the same time period last fiscal year. Now we break it down by axles, as we've been doing already for quite some time now. There are some noticeable changes again, as we expect, because these are month-to-month numbers, right? We're not comparing it to the previous year. These are month-to-month numbers. Cars are up by 6,294. That represents 53% of all crossings in December. Two-axle trucks are down by 177, and that represents 2.2% of all crossings in December. Three-axle trucks are down by 555, and that represents 4.8% of all crossings in December. Four-axle trucks are down by 172, and that represents 0.7% of all crossings in December. Five-axle trucks are actually down by 2,839, representing 34% of all crossings in December. And six-axle trucks are down by 15%, and that represents 0.1% of all crossings in December. Now we go into the revenues. So total revenues, on the revenue side, revenues totaled $1,758,294 for December. So that's an increase of $212,598, or 13.75% increase over the same time period last fiscal year. That concludes my crossings and revenues report for December. I'll be happy to entertain any questions or comments.
Do you have any questions? No. I just want to add that last week, Tony and I got to go to Victoria for some personal reasons, but we were able to use the bridge on the southbound, and it's a great benefit to have the other 4 lanes on the Mexico side already being utilized.
Absolutely.
I mean, the cars cross a lot easier, because that's where we had most of our issues on the southbound side. We're able to use the bridge, or the overpass that goes over Colosio, which is already open with the additional lanes. We were able to take part of the loop because we're going to Victoria, so we didn't get to go all the way to Monterrey, and it was quick, and we avoided a lot of the traffic, especially because the weather wasn't that great going through, the center of La Juarez and stuff like that. So it's.
Well, we're certainly starting to see a change
because I see
because
the
of that.
increase in cars, the that we had lately, so,
It's more convenient for them, obviously, you know, once you've opened up those 4 lanes for trucks specifically, they take that right turn to the new bridge, and that just leaves everything, queda todo liberado para autos.
para los autos. Yeah, we can't wait to have
Y eso ayuda.
the northbound side ready and have that feeling since you pay the toll
Sure,
on southbound.
And I think as we get our collaboration efforts further going, more than anything with the Chamber of Commerce, that'll allow us to put some marketing dollars into some tourism, and that'll align us with the Reynosa Airport and some of the destinations, not just for business, but also for pleasure, which is something we don't do. We have not done that. All our marketing budget goes towards just commercial, but this is something that we're trying to work out with the Greater Pharr Chamber of Commerce.
Okay,
That should increase some numbers as well in the future.
all right. Thank you, Luis.
Yes, sir. Up next, under the Director's Administrative Report, is item 2B, Finance Report for December 2024, and for that, I'll call Eddie Gutierrez to give us the status on that.
Good afternoon, board members, administrators. For the record, my name is Eddie Gutierrez. I'm with Bluestone Capital Solutions, here to report on the financial statements, and we're doing the quarterly report. Also for the crossings and revenues, and we're gonna continue doing this on a quarterly basis also, right? So that's the second section, and the third section is the recapture rate that we've talked about in the past, right? So I'll start off with the financial portion of it. So right off the bat on the financial portion of it, you'll see total revenues at $5,388,267. Of that, 97% consist of the toll fees, which is $5,230,958, and then it's broken down by credit cards of $47,000. You have the interest from the bond that sits in the bank, that's another $31,000. You have the peso exchange at about a little over $16,000, and then the rental income at $61,700, and then there's some other income from NSFs and some other stuff that's come in for $780. So total revenues again is $5,388,267. Our operating expenses, they're at $698,632. Of that, 48% of that consists of the personnel, which is $336,946. Then you have contractual agreements that are at $179,134. That's about 26% of total expenses. Then you're gonna have the debt service at $84,000, and then you got service charges to the bank and other, and then supplies also in there. So total operating expenses at $698,632. Operating expenses as a percentage of revenues, we are at 13% of operating expenses. Obviously, we're still lagging behind on some of the expenses that we have. But you can see of that 13%, when we break it down, personnel is at about 6.3, and then you have contractual agreements at 3.3, and then debt service at 1.6, and so on and so forth. So operating expenses is about 13% of our total revenues as of the end of December. When we look at just the toll collections, you're gonna see that for 24-25, we budgeted to be at $5,133,175 through the end of December. We are actually, through the end of December, our actual numbers are $5,230,958, so we're up. But when we compare that to 2024, we were at $4,224,437, which is almost a 24% increase. So we're doing fantastic when we compare it, and then when we compare it to budget, we're also doing a lot better than what we expected. Benchmarking for operating expenses, we finished the first quarter, so the first quarter, obviously, we should be at 25%. We've actually spent 13%, we just talked about that. This breaks it down into where we've expended that money. Obviously, we haven't spent too much of it, so you can see that there's a lot of gray area there that can be covered. And then here's our bridge bond debt. 70% of that is still going to the bridge expansion. Of that, our annual payment is $4,209,000 estimated. Of that, the majority, more than half of it goes to the interest, 2.2, and then the $2 million goes to the principal on the bond. And that covers the financial portion. The second portion that I'm jumping into, which is we're gonna start doing this one on a quarterly basis, is we're doing quarterly comparisons for the first quarter for 2024 and 2025 for crossings and revenues.
Let me pause you for the on the percentage of revenues, the debt service, that's including the bonds and the payments for the projects?
Are you talking about this one here?
No. Slide 4, I show
Oh,
a 4,
The
that
last
one right there.
Oh, this one here.
No,
This one.
no.
No, the one before.
Number 4,
Ese, that one. No,
that one right there.
This one.
Yeah.
it's actually spent.
So this is just the operating expenses, that's 600, that's this number right here, 698,000. And that's broken down, and the 13% consists of that. And that's broken down, that's breaking down the operating expenses, but as a percentage of revenue. So when you look at this is as a percentage of total operating expenses, but this is comparing as a percentage of revenues.
Right, of total revenues collected, this is for the year,
Yes, sir.
calendar year.
This is through
Fiscal.
the physical year, correct. This is through the end of December.
Through the end of December, so it's calendar year. Because fiscal year ends in October.
No, it's physical year. It's a physical year, because we
Fiscal
started in October.
That's, okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying. Calendar or fiscal?
It's physical,
It's fiscal.
yeah.
Okay. And in the debt service, break down what is in the debt service with the
So-
1.6.
I'm sorry?
You're showing 1.6%. What is in the debt service?
This one here?
What you're showing a 1.6 in debt service.
Oh, you're talking about the $4 million, right? This one right
You're
here?
showing 1.6 in debt service percentage for the year, right? You're showing a 13% operating expense compared to revenues. I'm just asking specifically for the debt service.
The 1.6, this is what's been paid out
Percent,
so
yes.
far.
Yes.
So I don't have the breakdown details on that on me, but that, I can get
Okay,
back to you on
all
that.
right,
So, yeah,
thank you.
so that 1.6 on that, yeah,
Thank you. This is great info.
okay, yes, sir.
Think we've asked-
Any further questions on
we've
the
asked for that
financial
for
side? of it?
years. No.
So the 2024-25 first quarter crossing and revenues comparison. So what we did here, we took the southbound cars and the truck crossings. As you can see, for 2024, for the first quarter, we had 147,823. For 2025 in the first quarter was 163,769, which represents an 11% increase. When we look at the southbound truck crossings, it's, for the first quarter in 2024, we had 162,669. For 2025, we had 167,476, which is represents a 3% increase on that. When we combine these, for 2024, it gives us 310,492 for 2024. And then for 2025, we had 331,245, which represents a 6.7% increase for the first quarter when compared to 2024. On the northbound crossings, we even have we took the information from Vanessa. It represents the northbound car crossings. For 2024, we had 117,922. For 2025, we had 134,896, and that represents a 14.4% increase also. For the northbound truck crossings, we had, for 2024, we had 168,913. And for 2025, we had 178, which represented a 7.2 increase. When we combine these two together, for 2024, we had 286,835. For 2025, we had 315,974, and that represents a 10.2% increase also. When we take southbound and northbound trucks crossings, we combine them. For 2024, we had 331,582 for 2024, and then for 2025, we had 348,544. That represents a 5.1% increase on that for the first quarter. Looking at revenues, this is prior to finance adjustments on this. For 2024, we had 4,373,000, and for 2025, it represents a 5,283,000. Which represents almost a 21% increase when we compare it to last year. So, all of them are representing increases across, all the way from cars to trucks, southbound and northbound, and also our revenue. So, looking pretty good. On the,
Can you go over the slide 10, the comparisons for southbound crossings,
yes, sir.
please?
So this is the comparison of, we got the southbound crossings, this combines vehicles and trucks. So you got 310, 492,000, 492 for 2024, and for 2025, we have 331,245, which represents a 6.7% increase.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the quarterly crossings report?
Any other questions?
Okay. On the recapture rate, you can see here historically what we've done year after year. We're at 92% for 2025. When we look at that on a monthly basis, we went from 91% recapture. I know it looks like it's going down, but it's actually going up. It represents 91% recapture rate. We went to a 93% recapture rate, and then we're at 94% recapture rate. So that recapture rate seems to be trending upward again. So it seems there for a while that we were capturing less vehicles that crossed northbound to come back southbound. But there's an increase also, an increasing trend. Let's see if we can continue this so we can continue to capture. I think some of these vehicles that are capturing are we're probably have a leakage going to either the Donna Bridge or the Ansel Duos Bridge, and that's probably the empties that are headed that way. So with that being said, we can probably do a little bit more research on that and find out what they have to match up what we've lost, so.
Well, the thing is, from here till June, you're gonna have a lot more because of the produce season. You know, trucks coming in, and they might come in through other ports and then go southbound through here if they come in and deliver here. So we'll see it. But I guess after that, the summer slows down and it'll average back out to where we're at.
Yeah. Any other questions that I can?
Just comment, you're seeing more crossings through other ports northbound.
Mm-hmm.
Recapture rate should be in the high 90s or above the hundreds, because a lot of these trucks are coming back south, should be coming back south through here. So there's definitely some areas of opportunities that need to be looked at. But because it's no secret, the other ports are definitely crossing more, not just agriculture trucks, but just trucks in general. But speaking on agriculture, I think we're missing some areas of opportunities right there.
And I agree with you, because I think we have some, Luis and I have talked about this. I believe that there's some leakage either through the Ansel Duos with the MTs headed that way. And also we've seen some increase in the Donna. We're not sure what the Donna is crossing now, but, so we're seeing some leakage through there, so. No questions?
All right. If there's no other questions, thank you, Eddie.
Thank you.
Thank you all, appreciate it.
Thank you, Eddie. Up next in item 2C, engineers report, and we have Maria Rangel, city engineer, to give you a status update on our projects.
Good afternoon, Bridge Board. It's good to see you all. I'm here presenting the report for January 2025. So we'll start off with FY16. That contract is currently about 1% in. That's how much we've paid them out so far for the first month. We're currently processing the second payment application. And we're about 12% of the time through the contract, 51 standard work week days. On this project in the past couple of weeks, what the contractor has done is they've continued to remove concrete pavement. There in the picture on the right-hand side, you see the progress they've made. So they've already finished demoing all the concrete. What they're doing now is basically just hauling it all away. So that they're at 98% on that item. It's an item that they've been working on for the past few weeks, so they're finally nearing the end of that. They're continuing with installation of the underground gas line, and they're also installing the duct bank, which is the picture there you see on the left-hand side. That duct bank, it's going to hold the electrical and the telecommunication, and it'll be encased in concrete. In the next couple of weeks, they'll also start the installation of the stormwater drainage lines, and then finish up the concrete, the gas line, and the duct bank.
They're working out through Monday to Friday, Monday to Sunday,
Monday through Friday.
Friday?
Mm-hmm. Correct. with the exception of the holidays we've had, which is 6 so far, and then also weather days. They've had a couple of those. The next project on my list is the International Bridge expansion. That project is 36% on time and about 21% on the amount we've paid out to the contractor. I don't have any pictures for this one. On this one, they're still continuing with the drilled shafts and the columns. On the drilled shafts, they've completed to date 144, so that's 39 more than last month. And then they've continued with the columns, so to date, they've built 109, and that's an increase of 52 from the last time I shared the report. Are there any questions on the bridge project? And the last one I want to cover is the commercial vehicle staging area. On that one, we had been going back and forth with TxDOT about next steps, and TxDOT did provide a response on January the 10th, and their direction to us was the best thing for the city to do is to reject bids and relet. So at the City Commission meeting on February 3rd, there will be an agenda item to take those actions, and right now the schedule is looking like we can relet the project at end of March of this year, and hopefully also start construction in the spring of this year.
Okay.
So, I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions?
If none, thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you, Maria. Up next, item 2D, the director's report. I don't think we have much. We don't have anything. As we know, we had a busy December. This meeting should have taken place last week, but we had to move it because of other things that were taking place. But yeah, we're looking forward to the new year. There's a lot of projects. Unfortunately, right now, as Maria mentioned, we did get that letter from TxDOT, so now we have to wait a little bit longer to finalize plans and rebid the project for the truck staging area. That's one of those issues that we continue to see, where those are needs, those are necessities by the trade community that are needed. That could be one of those opportunities that Tony's talking about, for recapture rate. You don't have the services, you don't have the ability to do that. Also, one of the things, we did meet with HCRMA, with TxDOT, actually with DPS last week. We had a big program for Bridge Connect, over 150 attendees to discuss the issue that we've seen going on. This is something that's going to require more discussion, in depth, and more review, more research to ensure that we can actually take action on this. Obviously, there's trucks that are not in compliance. We understand if you're not in compliance, well, we get it. But if you are in compliance, there should be a way to avoid those fines, right? It is a law. It is legal. It's a legal matter. But again, we are looking at it. We are taking the proper steps as areas of opportunity as well to ensure that we continue to not just retain what we have, but sustain it for the future. And that'll surely allow us to see an increase on that recapture rate going forward in the future. That and a lot of other things that we're doing research on to ensure that we have the adequate services on the U.S. side to be able to fulfill those services for our customers.
Didn't you already have a Bridge Connect on that last week?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So that's what I was saying. We had it last week, got 150 participants, a lot of discussion, now there's a lot of after action. A lot of, I know that TIPA is getting highly involved. I know that Dante at TIPA is getting involved. He sent an email. We're going to be reviewing some things. We have to get it with our Assistant City Manager, Cynthia Garza, to discuss these issues and seeing if there's something we can do. Because again, it only makes sense if, it doesn't make sense if you are in compliance and you are paying for your overweight permit. If you're not paying for your overweight permit, we get it. But if you are paying, then there's something we would have to do about that.
And there's some of the issues is they're paying for a particular overweight permit. It's not the one that they're hauling for a particular product. I don't know if that's the case
Well,
for
no,
some.
the case that we're seeing, the biggest case that we're seeing, I can have Freddie elaborate on this, is in and around our industrial section, in and around our industrial zone, between Highline and, between Jackson and Cage, between Highline and, what's that other word? What's that other? And Military. Yeah. That's the area that has been brought to, the concerns, the concerns that have been brought to our attention in and around that area. So there's some technicalities there. We can't get into the technicalities, And we're not gonna discuss them here, but again, this was a good step in the right direction. It's something we've looked at before, but based on the amount of reception we got for this Bridge Connect last week, again, we do have a lot of companies, a lot of the trade community, a lot of our customers that are finally trying to do something about it. And we will need their support as well as a city.
To give you some additional support, Freddie, also, I sit on one of the TIPA boards, and they're doing another one now with some other organizations, which is good, right? If you look at it on the positive side. They're not organized, and they're missing a number of organizations. So whose job is it to get everybody together? You know, it's tough to bring everybody into the room and get everybody to agree, but it's good. I actually spoke to Dante this morning, and I told him, you know, go ahead and do it, but then next week, there's gonna be the other organizations that don't talk to these organizations. We don't wanna, we're not here to ruffle the feathers
We get it, we've seen
or
it.
choose sides. At the end of the day, everybody wants to fix it. I'll speak it as an importer. I have two decisions: pay the fine or not. I'm paying fines. And adjust to whatever we'll have to do to get the load to our warehouse. So at the end of the day, it's unfortunate, right? But we have to just kind of weave through it.
Right, okay.
But good job on
Fair enough.
I know I saw the pictures. Y'all had a great turnout.
And the
Y'all had a
fines are
great turnout.
pricey, and at the beginning of the year, they announced, FMCSA announced that they were gonna go up to adjust for inflation too. So,
Absolutely. As expected.
yeah.
It's TXCA was highly involved also in it, so it took place a chapter meeting for this, which is the second one for us to inform. So I don't need it. Okay, yeah. So TXCA now they want to get involved in this report along with TIPA and whoever else is going to be looking into this issue.
I can't, like Tony said, we can't say what organizations, but we're not gonna do it through just one or two trucking companies complaining or
Exactly.
importers. It has to be within the
Unified front.
associations for them to get together, and that has to do with the brokers, custom brokers on both sides of the border, and importers, whether they're dry or produce, or they all have to get together and push for it. Because if not, we're just gonna have a lot of meetings and not a lot of results.
And I guess like Luis mentioned right now, in a different meeting we can discuss, but that's already happening.
Okay.
Final thing, I don't want to beat the dead horse, but session's coming up next month.
Yes.
RGB Days is like on the 20th of February. How many of those companies, this is a question for staff,
going.
right? And this is just, again, I'm just trying to call it how it is. How many of those organizations are actually going to be in Austin
up for testimonials.
lobbying for this? You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that want to complain, but who's up there doing something about it?
No.
And who's here expecting us or expecting somebody here to fix it?
Absolutely.
It's difficult. Again, I can only speak it as an importer.
You're right.
I have two choices, guys: pay the fine or not,
No.
and support the organizations that we're associated with, that we're aligned with. Pay my dues. That's very important, because if we don't pay dues, they can't go to Austin and lobby. That's a fact. Hollis, am I right? It's a fact. I mean, it is what it is. So, but yeah, again, exactly. I know everybody's doing a great job. Dante's trying to do what he can, but he's also pressed against time, because there's a lot that's happening in the next 4 to 6 weeks, and it's coming up. Session's coming
Well,
up.
it's late already as it is, it's late. It's late in the game.
Yeah. Like Edgar said, the season's kicked off officially.
All right. At this time, we're gonna go to executive. In accordance with chapter 551, the Bridge Board will go now into executive section .071 to .087. The time is 12:38. Good afternoon, we're back from executive session. The time is 1:05.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, we're going into item 3A, administrative approval of minutes for December 18, 2024, regular called meeting.
We need a motion.
No motion?
Motion by Mr. Martinez. Second, Mr. Reyes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 3B, discussion and action, if any, on renewal of Texas International Produce Association annual membership dues in the amount of $2,000 for the year.
No motion?
A motion by Mr. Martinez. Second by Mr. Robert. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 3C, discussion and action, if any, on renewal of Border Trade Alliance 2025 patron membership in the amount of $2,500 for the year.
A motion?
Motion by Mr. Martinez,
I second it.
second by Mr. Campero. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 3D, discussion and action, if any, on Viva Fresh Summit Platinum Level sponsorship and booth in the amount of $20,000. This is for not just us, but going half and half with the EDC.
Motion?
A motion by Mr. Martinez,
Yeah, second.
second by Mr. Garza. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 3E, discussion and action, if any, on negotiating new pricing to current professional service agreement with Bluestone Capital Solutions LLC for financial consulting.
Need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Beas. Second by Mr. Garza. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And now we just need a motion to adjourn. What's it gonna need?
A motion.
Motion by Mr. Campero,
Yes, second.
second by Mr. Beas. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, gentlemen. Have a great rest of your day and week.